Welcome, everyone, to episode 6 of Talk Exchange. In case you haven't heard, National Exchange Club is very, very big on the national child abuse prevention efforts, especially, as they like to call it, the prevention of child abuse. And today's episode is very, very special because we have Joe Dudek, who is the Executive Director of Help for Kids in Southern Connecticut. Joe is extremely active in Exchange. He's the member of almost 10 different Exchange clubs. And today he's going to talk to us about the tools and resources that he uses via the National Exchange Club, all the different programs that he's part of in his different clubs, donation support, and a whole host of other things. So we hope you enjoy episode 6 of Talk Exchange.
Welcome to Talk Exchange. I'm Tracey Edwards, CEO of the National Exchange Club.
And I'm Kristie Lindahl, the Director of Communications.
Kristie, I can't believe that we're in 2023 already. How's your year going so far?
So far, so good. I'm knocking on wood.
We're off and running, and I know Exchange clubs are too. They had such a productive and fulfilling holiday season, putting meals on tables for families, putting gifts under the trees for kids, and just, lighting up the lives of so many people nationwide. It's been awesome to see. So now that we're in the new year, our focus is on April, which is a very big month for Exchange, right?
Huge. So we talk about our national child abuse prevention, and in Exchange, of course, we all know we call it prevention of child abuse to emphasize that prevention. But we're excited about our guest today. He has a lot of experience in this field, and it's really a passion for Joe. So I'm excited for everyone to hear what he has to say.
I am too, having known Joe for a long time, it's been an opportunity to just get to know his heart, and he's so committed to the prevention of child abuse. In fact, he serves as the Executive Director of Help for Kids, the Prevention Center in Southern Connecticut. So welcome, Joe. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Tracey. Thank you, Kristie. I'm honored to be here with you today and look forward to a great conversation.
And Joe has worn many hats in Exchange. He has shown his commitment by serving as, of course, the district president of the Connecticut district, the Region 12 vice president. He currently serves as a trustee on the National Exchange Club Foundation Board, and he's a volunteer field representative. And I'm sure many other things, but those are the highlights at the top of my mind today.
Dare we ask what you do in your free time?
I think Exchange.
I'll figure that out when I have some.
Right. Well, we're really excited. As you know, Joe, we featured in our current magazine, which may be in mailboxes already. So perhaps people got a sneak peek about your new basket program, all the amazing things that you're doing since taking this position with that center there in Connecticut. So tell us more about the basket program.
Thank you, Tracey. I'd love to. Last year, we started working with the state of Connecticut Office of Early Childhood for a pre- and postnatal support program here for the state of Connecticut. So our center, Help for Kids, is working with the most at-risk families right now, helping support them during the mother's pregnancy and then after the baby's born to support them and make sure that there's a healthy, happy environment for the mother and the baby through the whole pre-postnatal program.
Well, that's awesome. I love that there's support before and after the birth, and that can only help strengthen things for that family, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you think about what it's like to bring a new child into your home, stressors that you've never even thought about before, situations that you just can't comprehend because you're tired, you're exhausted, the baby has needs and doesn't speak. So this is a great program.
Thank you. Yeah, in fact, I was very motivated because thinking about 30 years ago when my daughter was born, bringing our baby daughter home, and all of a sudden look at this infant and be like, okay, now what do we do? Right.
Right.
And it is scary and it can be overwhelming. So this program really is exciting for us to be able to bring into the community and help support all the mothers and families in Fairfield County.
And what was the reaction of the community when they got word of this? And I know you put it out there to people and it was really well received. Tell us about that type of reaction.
Absolutely. Just last October, we did our initial program into Fairfield County, and we've had a lot of very positive response, and we're continuing to move this initiative across the cities and towns of Connecticut. In fact, our next initiative is in Stamford, where our center is located. And coincidentally, the Mayor Caroline Simmons, just had a baby a year ago. And so we
Oh,
were able to give her
perfect.
one of our baskets last April during Prevention of Child Abuse Month. And we're working with her and her program. There's an initiative in Stamford for maternal health. So we are working hand in hand with the Stamford Mayor's Office to help support our mothers in multiple ways now.
Amazing. So now, Joe, is it an application process? Are the families referred to you? How do they come to the center?
We do get referrals either through different agencies, through healthcare providers, and community referrals. So again, we put out there on social media, anyone that is interested in getting support, it's open to any mother at this time. We initially started with the most at risk, but now we've been able to expand it to any woman that is pregnant, that we can help support her and her family in the pre and postnatal program.
Wow. And are these baskets offered at no charge to the mothers, Joe?
Yes, they are.
Wow.
We collect donations from across the area. Our exchange clubs are extremely supportive of what we're doing, and we can talk more about that later. But we are very, very happy with the community support of the program, and we're able to supply these at no charge to all women that are pregnant.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, since the program's been so well received in your area and it's well funded, people are excited about it. What's your vision for the future of this program? What do you see happening since it's expanded so quickly already?
Yeah, no, thank you. Again, we're looking to do Fairfield County this year and then expand it to all areas within the state of Connecticut. And at the same time, bring it to a national platform with the National Exchange Club, letting other centers and clubs know that this is available for them to use to help support their local communities, but also raise visibility of the National Exchange Club's national project of prevention of child abuse. For all of our clubs across the country.
That's exciting.
It is exciting.
Wow. And you mentioned the support of local exchange clubs, which, as we know, is a really important component in supporting our national project. How have you seen that happen? And what advice do you have for clubs who would like to get involved with their center?
Sure. So we're blessed here at Help for Kids, where we have three very strong clubs surrounding us and multiple clubs across Connecticut that help support Help for Kids. But we have the Stamford Exchange Club, of course, our home club in Stamford, Connecticut, that has supported us from the very beginning. The New Canaan Exchange Club, the same thing, has supported the center for the 33 years that we've been in existence. And the Norwalk Exchange Club as well, supporting us in all the programs that we do. So we're very lucky with the support that they have, and we try to work at mutual beneficial basis where they make donations and help come in and volunteer, and we go to their club meetings and their events and help support them, raise visibility for what they're doing, all the great things, not just in the prevention of child abuse, but for all their projects that they do in the community.
Well, I love that because we know any good relationship needs
Mhm.
to be mutually beneficial. So I love how you've designed that. And that's a good example for other clubs and centers across the country to follow.
Tracy, in fact, there's such a mutual beneficial relationship that I have joined 8 exchange clubs now, and I'm an active member
What?
in 8 exchange clubs. Yes,
And less
Uh-oh.
free time now, Joe.
We're
much
almost
less the whole thing. I was
we're
just
almost
in
at double digit clubs, Joe.
back in December. I spent a lot of time at the New Canaan tree farm where we they sell trees to help support our center. So a lot of different things that I'm able to do to support the clubs, and I'm very happy to do it as they are very engaged with what we do at the center.
That's I'm laughing about you being longing to 8 clubs. That's fantastic. But Christy always hears me say, if only I had more arms, I could do so much more. But there's
Mhm.
truly not enough of you to go around.
I've looked into cloning, but right now it's not a
Yes.
possibility.
Well, they're fortunate to have you, your dynamic energy and enthusiasm, what you've done with the center, and really how you've been such a great example of that club and center relationship. Christy, why don't you talk a little bit about what we've done at the national convention in terms of support and involvement for centers. And I know you've been a strong part of that, Joe, in delivering that session about this club and center relationship.
Sure. So, for anyone who hasn't been to the convention or the people who perhaps were there for the first time last year, it was a unique experience. We took the symposium, which had typically run the few days before the convention, and we streamlined it with the convention timeline. The idea, the purpose of that was to have some more interaction between our centers and our clubs, open up some of the symposium workshops to club members and vice versa.
Mhm.
There was a great reception from this.
Yes.
People were excited on both ends, the clubs and the centers, to have this opportunity to get to know each other better and build some of those relationships.
It was great because the clubs have so much respect and support for the center directors, so they could really meet the people, doing the work in that field, get to know them and get to know their needs. And as well for the centers to, support the clubs as well, get to know the clubs in their area. And that made me think, though, Joe, we know there's not a center in every area where there's a club. What advice do you have for those clubs that may not have an exchange club center to directly support? What can they do?
Okay, well, Tracy, there's a lot of different organizations in every state that help in the prevention of child abuse. I mean, there are state agencies that certainly are very involved with that, but there are also private organizations, whether they be nonprofits or public agencies that work with the families within each community. So that's very important for the exchange clubs to see what is going on in their community to help in the prevention of child abuse. And again, that is one of my hopes, is that this basket program will be able to go into all the communities across the country with the exchange clubs to help really put a name to what our prevention services do in supporting our mothers and our families in the prevention of child abuse.
Absolutely. And I know we'll have other episodes leading up to April about what we are doing for our clubs and centers, what type of resources there are so that they can show support and promote awareness for the national project. So it's great to lead with this. So tell us more about your vision there in Connecticut. What else are you doing, maybe in preparation for April or with the clubs or anything else you have going on?
Sure. So first, all of our programs, we incorporate three different programs into the services that we provide. Of course, our National Exchange Parent Aid Program is our lead program and has been for the 33 years that we've been in existence. And about 10 years ago, we incorporated a 24/7 Dads Fatherhood program that helps bring fathers that aren't engaged necessarily with their children and help them understand why it's important for them to engage in their child's life and to help support the child and the mother in raising the child. And most recently, our Healthy Families America program, which is the start of our pre and postnatal support program. So we're bringing all three of these programs into the community, raising visibility for the prevention and trying to kind of network those programs and make it very, very easy for the community to understand what we're doing and how we're doing it. And with that, the clubs have responded extremely well, and they're helping get the word out. And again, they continue to do fundraisers to help support the center. They just were very, very generous over the Christmas season with gift cards for our families and toys for our families. And it's just a wonderful relationship that we've been able to work together with these clubs. And we, again, hope to bring that to all the clubs across the country so they can really have that great feeling of what they're doing in their community. Besides all their other projects, this program is truly very special.
Yeah. And if you think about the families that you're helping as well, to know that so many people care, that so many people want to see their families succeed and their children healthy and happy and productive throughout their lives is really inspiring.
Absolutely. That's
Absolutely.
why they call it the cycle, breaking the cycle of child abuse, right? No one wants to have a bad environment for their child, but unfortunately they aren't used to raising a child. And so when it comes to what their fallback is, it's what they experienced.
Sure.
And unfortunately, without some education and some support, it ends up being, again, that cycle that we want to break and be able to move forward in a really healthy, loving environment for
Yeah.
families.
It's very important work, no doubt.
Via your programs, Joe, what are you seeing in terms of the success rate? I love, of course, our exchange parent aid model, and a lot of that is circumstance driven, right? We know that people are stressed because of their circumstances. A lot of that leads to the abusive situations, but this program prevents child abuse. So, what type of success are you seeing via that and your other programs that you're operating there in Connecticut?
Well, now you're going to let me brag a little bit, aren't you? So
Good. Yeah, absolutely.
our program has
Please.
been extremely successful all across the board with all three of our programs. And obviously, we're so excited and happy that we're able to do this. All three our parent aid program, we're above the national average into the 90% success rate. Our
Wow.
fatherhood program, the same thing, over 90%. And our Healthy Families America program, exactly the same. Above average for all programs that are across the United States. And we are in the first year of the program with the state of Connecticut Office of Early Childhood. We received the highest ratings of any agency across the state of Connecticut.
Wow,
So
congratulations.
That's
thank you.
wonderful.
That's
Yes.
huge.
Thank you. And it's really focusing on what's important, making sure that everyone does their due diligence and the protocols that the programs have. Again, these are wonderful programs that are put together by the National Exchange Club and other organizations. And if you just follow the protocols and understand how to do it step by step, you will be very, very successful. And that's why trying to get our parent aid into more communities is very important. And I really support and recommend the clubs to try to get this program into their communities to help support the families and mothers and children.
Yeah, all of those numbers represent faces and
Wow.
stories and people in the future. This is amazing.
Absolutely. And with the obviously the pandemic that we're getting out of now, everyone really understands how important it is to connect, because we
Yes.
were disconnected for 2 years, and now people understand that it's so important for us to connect with one another, and particularly with a mother with her baby, in order to provide that healthy, happy childhood and adulthood, as we know from the ACEs study that was done over 30 years ago. Adverse childhood experiences, the more adverse childhood experiences a child experiences, the more complicated health issues and mental health issues down the road. And the more we're able to educate people about this, the more we'll be able to help not just physical wellness in the long term, but mental health wellness, which is so important.
Very important.
Yes.
I just read an article a few days ago about the dramatic increase in mental health, people seeking mental health care,
Yes.
and they attributed that to the pandemic.
Yes.
And a lot of them are teenagers, and they've missed out on those formative years. You know, uh, it's a big deal. I think
It
back, my
is.
son had his first program. He's 10. He had his first school program this year.
Seriously.
A lot of
Wow.
kids missed out on a lot.
Right.
So these programs are great to help bring awareness to mental health and that children can struggle.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Absolutely.
thank
There's
God we have
always a
these
lot of
resources.
conversations about it, but when it comes down to it, very little gets done. And that is our objective, is to really raise visibility and get things done. And that's again why our pre-postnatal basket program, we feel, is such an important aspect of what we can bring, because it's an easy conversation, right?
Hmm.
A pre-postnatal support basket, who wouldn't want to help donate toward that and raise visibility of how important it is to support our new mothers and their families.
Hmm.
I'm so thankful to be part of an organization that believes in preventing bad situations and that's large enough that we can really have great impact. And
So
speaking
in
of
our
that,
basket, we provide a lot of different educational information that,
good.
someone doesn't have to have the program. Obviously, they don't have to
Right.
volunteer to be in the program, because it is all volunteer to be part of our programs. And there's all of our great National Exchange Club family facts and tips that are in our basket that help parents from birth all the way through teenage years, to give them helpful hints and education about how better to interact with their child through all those age groups, and what that child is going through, and how better to relate to your child and not have a conflict or a difficult situation that may arise. And a perfect example is our timeout Teddy, right?
Yes.
We give out a timeout Teddy in our basket, but we also obviously have the pamphlet, so parents understand a timeout isn't for the child, the timeout is for the parent, to take time out and understand what's going on and why the child is reacting the way the child's reacting. And so the parent doesn't react in a knee-jerk reaction that they may regret down the road. And so, we're really excited to bring all the National Exchange Club tips and information into this basket because we have so much to offer the community with these great resources.
Right. And those little people are complicated. Once you think you have them figured out, they go ahead and change everything. So,
That they do. They're experts.
They are.
And Joe, you've referenced quite a bit throughout this conversation the tools and resources available via the National Exchange Club. And you happen to serve as a trustee on our National Exchange Club Foundation Board of Trustees, which of course is the fundraising arm of the National Exchange Club. So all of those funds support the national project. What advice do you have for people who may want to look to give to support these programs, and why should they give to support these programs? I'm sure they're inspired by everything you had to say today. So how can they get involved and help financially?
Thank you. Yes, the foundation is the engine behind what the National Exchange Club does, right? And we're able to do so many great things with the National Exchange Club because of all the donations that come into the foundation. We have our Berkey Fellows. When people can donate $1,000 to become a Berkey Fellow and help support the National Exchange Club Foundation. But you don't need to give that much money, Tracy. A monthly donation of $10, $20, $30 would be wonderful to help support our programs, because none of this is possible without the support of the National Exchange Club Foundation being able to support our centers. People don't realize that the training for our parent aid program is free for the centers, that we do that at no cost and able to train the centers and our executive directors, our program managers and staff and how to do this and provide the great services that all of our centers do. So it's a lot of wonderful things that donations to the foundation will bring about in the community. Again, we also have obviously our Americanism programs that we support, our scholarship programs, which are wonderful, and everyone loves to see that at the convention.
Yes.
Yes.
None of this would be possible without the donations of our membership and in people looking to support the National Exchange Club.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
it really does go full circle.
Mhm.
So the ACE, Accepting the Challenge of Excellence Scholarship, always a favorite.
Yes.
It's a wonderful way to recognize children who often didn't have access to the support that we now try to
Mhm.
provide. And these kids who came out of bad situations and made a better life for themselves on their
Right.
own or with little help. So these scholarships are a great way to pay the sentiment forward as well.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Crossing the country over the past several years, going to district conventions, watching their awards and
Yeah.
giving the scholarships to Youth of the Year and ACE Award winners. I mean, there's hardly a dry eye in the crowd
Mhm.
when they give away that ACE Award. And it really is very, very touching, the great work that all our clubs and districts do around the country. And people really need to take that to heart to understand that without them, each individual person, that wouldn't happen. And it's so important for everyone to realize how they are important and what they can bring themselves, not just to their club and their district, but to the National Exchange Club through all the things that they do, and being able to spread the word of exchange and the great programs we have and help support everything that we do in our communities.
Joe,
Well said.
thank you for your dedication to exchange, for your commitment to the prevention of child abuse. We appreciate your passion and your enthusiasm and your work. And we're excited about your basket program. Can't wait to take it to the next level. So thanks for everything you do out there in the name of exchange. It's really great to have you as a valued part of our network. And thanks for sharing this. It's so beneficial for other clubs and centers and the community to learn.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate the invitation and glad to share the great work that we're doing and help people understand how the National Exchange Club can help their local communities and bring more great programs into their community through the National Exchange Club. So thank you, Tracy, for all your support, and Kristie for your support as well of what we do, and look forward to continuing to do more great things in the name of exchange.
Oh, it's always a
Thanks,
pleasure
Joe.
to talk to you, Joe.
Continued success. Thank you. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
tuning in to this episode of Talk Exchange. And thanks to our special guest today, Joe Dudek, the Executive Director of Help for Kids in Connecticut. Thanks, Joe.
Until next time.